If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. Meow, I know what you're thinking. You're finally playing one of those Metroidvanias, aren't you, Guru? Well, joke's on you. I already played one of those Metroidvanias, and I'm playing another one really soon. And double twist, Meowphoria isn't even one of those Metroidvanias. It's a normal MV with a bit of a cat girl thing. There's nothing lewd here, just straight up cringe. But as I always say, kill not the part of you that is cringe. Kill the part of you that cringes. And that's exactly what I did to play this new MV hot off the presses. So what's Meowphoria all about? It's a isekai harem game. If that didn't turn you away, allow me to elucidate. You play as you, a self-insert indie dev who gets sucked into a portal in the room and dropped into another world. There, the local god tells you that you're the latest chosen hero destined to defeat the Singularity Dragon. The god offers you a blessing to aid your quest, and you ask for a harem of cat girls. And that's the setup. Go collect cat girls and save the world, I guess. It's weird, it's goofy, it's self-aware, and it's all done in good fun. But is self-awareness enough to justify the cringe, or is this game gonna make you cough up a hairball?
Combat.
Meowphoria's combat is simple, but it's got a hook. You've got one move, swing your sword. No elaborate combos, no special attacks. Just hack away until the thing you're hacking at stops moving. What keeps it engaging is the good aerial mobility. Hops and retreats feel snappy, and the movement flow adds just enough engagement to keep fights from going stale. Where things get interesting is when your cat girls jump into the fray. You can summon and desummon your harem with the press of a button, and let me tell you, calling them in is kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes it's clutch, sometimes it's chaos, but it's always entertaining. There are 12 cat girls to recruit. You start by summoning one, but eventually you can call in up to 4 at a time. Each cat girl has a unique moveset, and you can't control any of them. They just appear and start doing whatever they want. 9 times out of 10, their arrival turns the fight into a complete mess, in the funniest possible ways. Cat girls will leap around, attack, get in your way, get in each other's way, die, and then block you with their corpse. It's absolute pandemonium and a whole lot of fun, even when their shenanigans get you killed. Thankfully, the game's generous with checkpoints. Dying just sends you back to the start of the current area, so it's never a big deal. I chose to embrace the chaos and have fun instead of get mad, and that made all the difference. Meow, it's not like the cat girls are totally useless or just there to get in your way. Like I mentioned, each one has a unique moveset, so pairing them with good synergies is key to success. Some cat girls complement specific playstyles, so experimentation is a must if you want to get the most out of your harem. My favorite cat girl was Zephyr. Her ice magic could freeze enemies in place, even bosses. And Alicia deserves a shout out too, not just for being the OG cat girl in the harem, but for being the team's healer, even if her heart summoning could use a little QA. When it comes to the game's bosses, I don't have much to say. Like the cat girls, boss fights tend to feel a little chaotic, but that might be because I always summoned my harem for these encounters. Bosses have patterns you can learn, adapt to, and overcome, but with 4 cat girls bouncing around like caffeinated pinballs, you're just as likely to sabotage yourself. Sure, you could argue that not summoning your harem would make these fights cleaner and easier, but where's the fun in that? I don't learn boss patterns. I don't adapt to boss attacks. I don't fight fair. I summon my cat girl harem and swing my sword aimlessly while they bounce around like idiots. If that doesn't work, I die and try it again. That's it for combat. In the end, Meowphoria's combat thrives on controlled simplicity and unhinged chaos. Your sword is steady, your movement is slick, and your cat girl squad is a glorious mess of magic, mayhem, and misfires. It's not about precision, it's about embracing the unpredictability, finding synergy in the nonsense, and letting the fur fly. And once you accept this, The chaos gives way to charm, which gives way to fun. Oh, also, your cat girls don't actually die. Once their HP depletes, they'll temporarily lay on the ground until they feel better. Then they get back up and join the fight. I wanted to be clear because I didn't want you to think you could lose your cat girls. Meow, that would be a real tragedy.
Abilities. Platforming.
Abilities in Meowphoria are a mix of standard MV maneuvers and a surprisingly fresh twist involving your cat girls. The main protagonist gets the usual suspects: dash, double jump, and wall climb. If I need to explain what those do, then hey, welcome to my channel for the first time ever. I'm not sure why you chose Meowphoria as your first MV, but I'm glad you're here, right meow. Using cat girl abilities to overcome utility gates is actually pretty clever, especially since I didn't know they can interact with the world for the longest time. One can freeze water so you can cross it, another cuts down vines, and another tosses bombs to break specific walls. So yeah, collecting cat girls isn't just a pervy pastime, Dad. Recruiting cat girls is simple enough. Find them, woo them by picking the right dialogue options, and seal the deal by asking them to join your harem. I'm not sure if every cat girl has a fail state, but I know one sure did. In her defense, I came on a little strong. Some cat girls have unique requirements to recruit them, like winning a timed arena fight or collecting copper coins to free her from prison, while others are hidden off the beaten path. So if you want all the skills needed to bypass utility gates, beating bosses won't be enough. You'll need to explore, experiment, and earn those optional abilities one cat girl at a time. Platforming in Meowphoria feels pretty good overall. Movement's solid both on the ground and in the air, and there's plenty of obstacles, moving platforms, and bouncy shrubs to keep things engaging. You won't find any sections that'll bust your platforming chops or make you sweat, but what's here is more than serviceable. There aren't really any puzzles to solve or shortcuts to unlock. Meowphoria plays it safe, leaning on utility gating, ability acquisition, and narrative progress to recontextualize its world. It's a very old school approach to MV design, and I ain't mad about it, especially since this journey is a relatively small one. I clocked about 4.5 hours before the credits rolled. And that's it for this section. Meowphoria keeps its platforming and ability design simple but smart. Standard movement feels good, and the clever use of catgirl powers is a surprisingly thoughtful twist on utility gating.
Progression.
Progression in Meowphoria is pretty lean, but interesting. It plays more like a classic Metroid-like, where upgrades are tied to exploration rather than XP, gear, or skill trees. Instead, you've got two currencies, gold and crystals, both found in chests. Crystals are used to boost your HP and running speed, but only when you find the right pedestal out in the wild. Stumble across one, fork over the required crystals, and boom, upgrade acquired. Gold, on the other hand, is for shopping. Technically, you don't need anything from the shops to beat the game, but a few items are kinda broken, so you'll want to spend that cash. Some of these items reveal the locations of every pedestal and cat girl, which is a must if you're aiming to 100% the game. So make sure to hit the gift shops during your visit at Catgirl World. As for side quests, there are only a couple. They're game-spanning fetch quests, and those are always cool, though these rewards vary in coolness. One rewards you with one of the best cat girls in the game, the other gives you a hat. Meow, I'll let you decide which one I preferred. That's going to be it for progression. Meowphoria keeps progression light but purposeful, leaning on exploration. There's no grinding, just treasure hunting, catgirl recruiting, and the occasional broken shop item to tip the scales.
Exploration.
Meowphoria's exploration is surprisingly rewarding, especially given how short the journey is. As is typical for Metroid-likes, I've already covered most of what you'll find while exploring, so I won't waste your time too much right meow. Chests with gold and crystals, pedestals to boost your stats, fetch quest materials, and, of course, catgirls. Occasionally, false walls hide secrets, but most collectibles are out in the open, ready to be snatched as long as you've got the right ability or catgirl on hand. Your main objective is to find the 7 primordial sources and shatter them to unlock access to the Singularity Dragon. Surprisingly, the search for these sources is pretty non-linear. You'll need a specific skill here and there to reach a few of them, but I managed to sequence break one area by stacking my harem and bouncing off their heads. So who knows what kind of other speedrun tech this game might be hiding. The game's map is not the greatest. It's kinda hard to read. But since the world's so small and you can buy items that reveal everything anyway, it works well enough. Fast travel took me a second to figure out. You find these gates and spend mana to teleport between them. 35 mana per trip. What's mana? Great question. I must have missed a tutorial on that because it confused the heck out of me. Turns out, defeating enemies gives you mana, and you spend it to warp. That's it. Not complicated, but when you don't know, you don't know, you know? That's it for exploration. Meowphoria's world may be small, but it packs just enough secrets, collectibles, and cat-powered utility to make exploration feel worthwhile. The map's a little ugly, and the fast travel system could use a better intro, but once you're in the groove, it's smooth sailing, especially if you're willing to experiment and bounce off heads.
Atmosphere. Narrative.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. The game's art style, especially for its character portraits, it might not be your thing. And the cat girl aesthetic, that might put you off too. And that's fair. If you don't like how something looks, you're allowed to have that opinion. For me, I'm more of a wabi-sabi kind of guy. That's a Japanese phrase that means finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence. Personally, I don't find Meowphoria's character art to be very pleasing to my eyes, but I like it for what it is. It has its own style, and that uniqueness is something I can appreciate. I found the in-game graphics to be charming. It leans into a blocky pixel art style that feels like it was made in MS Paint, and most of the enemies are more adorable than threatening. That said, there are a few scenes where the backgrounds look, well, I'm no art major, so I lack the vocabulary to be precise, but they reminded me of something from an elementary school art project. These scenes pop up while you're traveling with your latest cat girl, usually during moments meant to build connection. Maybe the backgrounds were trying to convey something emotional or symbolic, but for me, they were more distracting than meaningful. And that brings us to the game's narrative. I can sum it up in 3 phrases: goofy, poor localization, and missed opportunity. Goofy is self-explanatory. The game's self-aware and throws tongue-in-cheek jabs at isekai tropes. For the most part, it's fine. But the second point is where things fall apart. Poor localization. It's clear the dev's native language isn't English, because most of the dialogue ranges from fragmented at best to incoherent at worst. There were plenty of exchanges that left me scratching my head, not because I didn't know what was going on, the plot ain't that deep, but because the execution and word choices were just baffling. I'll play some of the better lines in the background while I talk, so you can see for yourself. Meow, whether this poor localization is a deal breaker or a delight, that's up to you. Personally, I loved it. Maybe it's the English teacher in me, but I found the whole experience unintentionally hilarious. It gave me the same kind of joy I get from watching a schlocky B movie. Messy, earnest, and weirdly endearing. My last point is missed opportunity. I don't see this as a negative critique, just a nice to have if the dev ever makes a sequel. I just wish there were more I could have done with the cat girls in terms of progression. Obviously, that goes way beyond the scope of this game, but imagine if you could build affinity with them, Persona style. That kind of system would have taken things to the next level. Given how short the game is, something that ambitious wouldn't have made sense to implement. Still, you can see hints of it, especially in those elementary school art scenes. Like the dev wanted to go deeper, but that mechanic got left on the cutting room floor. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! I'll wrap this section up by vaguely touching on the endings. There are 2, and which one you get comes down to a binary choice at the very end. Nothing's tied to it, no need to recruit every cat girl or finish every side quest. And the ending is a full-on Deus Ex Machina that comes out of nowhere. But instead of being eye-roll inducing, it's kind of hilarious. And that's it for this section. Meowphoria's atmosphere and narrative are a strange cocktail of charm, oddities, and missed potential. The art style won't be for everyone, the localization is a beautiful mess, and the story ends with a shrug and a wink, but somehow, it all works in its own silly, earnest way. It's a game that stumbles with some of its polish and trips over its own dialogue, but still manages to land somewhere oddly endearing. If nothing else, it's a reminder that sincerity, even when filtered through pixelated cat girls and broken English, can still leave an impression. And quite honestly, this game feels like it has a much deeper story to tell, but just didn't have the opportunity to tell it just yet. Here's hoping for a sequel.
Final thoughts and score.
Meowphoria is chaotic, a little clumsy, and completely self-aware, and that's exactly what I like about it. Its simple combat, solid movement, and cat girl gimmick create a weirdly endearing experience of unfiltered charm. Yeah, the localization's a mess, and the art and theme may give the game some looks, but it's impossible to deny the heart behind it all. I award Meowphoria a 6.5 out of 10. Meowphoria will be available on PC on October 22nd, 2025. I played it exclusively on the Steam Deck with 0 issues, and therefore give it a Steam Deck rating of verified.
Pair placement.
Meowphoria is a good yet weird game. Its combat is minimalistic with a chaotic but fun cat-girl summoning hook, and its platforming is serviceable if a bit uninspired. Exploration fares better, small, cozy, and surprisingly non-linear. And while the art direction and narrative have their charm, there are enough missteps, especially in the English version, to make you laugh both with and at the game. Meowphoria moves its catgirl harem into the C tier. I genuinely enjoyed my time with Meowphoria, and I think the most dedicated Metroidvaniers will too. It's a short, personality-rich experience you can knock out in a session or two. But its lack of polish and its very specific thematic flavor that caters to a certain clientele might be a bit much for some. When all's said and done, Meowphoria is a curious little oddity worth checking out if you love quirky Metroidvanias. If that's you, go play this game right meow.